What am I doing? I'm doing it for the show. Field of 68 till I die.
This is the Field of 68 After Dark Show, the only place that you need to be for college hoops every single night.
Oh, Rob Dauster said it, and he's absolutely right. It is Field of 68 After Dark. Good evening, everybody, on this Thursday night, February the 10th. I'm John Fanta. Rob Dauster is with us tonight. The pride of the Pittsburgh Panthers, Ashton Gibbs, is with us tonight. We are on Sirius XM Channel 84, the ESPNU station. We're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, and we're presented by Bet Rivers. We begin tonight with a classic example that from night to night in the month of February, when everybody knows a little bit more about everybody in your conference, it doesn't matter who you're facing sometimes. The crazy can happen this time of year. After a 16-point win over Illinois at Mackey Arena earlier this week, tonight, your final score from Ann Arbor, Michigan 82, Purdue 58. The Boilers' 6-game winning streak gone. They take their fourth loss, and they take it in blowout fashion. Rob Dauster, what went wrong for the Boilermakers?
I think this was just kind of a situation where it was a little bit of a tough matchup for them, right? We've talked over and over on this show about the issues that Purdue has defensively, specifically in their defensive backcourt. That becomes a little bit more problematic when you go up against a team like Michigan that also is able to take advantage of what you do in the front court. Michigan was playing Hunter Dickinson and Moussa Diabate together, and those two big guys were able to take advantage of the fact that Purdue kind of wants to play 4 around 1, right? They want to play 4 guards. They want to be able to have 4 shooters around Zach Edey. So I think this was a combination of a beneficial matchup for Michigan on a night where they happened to shoot 12 for 21 from 3, while Purdue shot 4 for 18 from 3. To me, Ashton, this was just kind of like one of those nights. It happens in conference play.
Yeah, it happens in conference play, especially on the road. I thought Michigan, they really got the crowd into it, especially early in the game. And that's always tough in the middle of conference season. Hunter Dickinson played like a monster, and then you have Eli Brooks shooting the ball well from 3. And then defensively, I thought Michigan did a really good job defensively shutting down Stefanovic. And anytime Purdue doesn't shoot well from 3, it's going to be tough. You know, it makes it even tougher for Jaden Ivey to get downhill and attack gaps. And then, you talk about Williams and Zach Edey down low. It makes it easier to guard. So I thought Michigan did really well defensively. But anytime Purdue doesn't shoot the ball well from 3, it's going to be a tough night.
Look, there's not going to be many nights where these two things are occurring. Michigan shoots 12 of 21 from three-point land. Like, that's as good as Michigan has shot the basketball from beyond the arc all year. Tonight, Eli Brooks did not miss from 3, went 4 of 4. Hunter Dickinson went 4 of 6 in this game. And Caleb Houston went 4 of 6 from 3. That's your three-point shooting right there. And that getting accompanied by the Boilers going 4 for 18 from 3. But to me, Ashton, you bring up an interesting point, and I'm going to follow up with you on this. You said when Purdue's not hitting the 3, it can go in the wrong direction for them. Are you concerned that they're a little too reliant on the three-point shot?
A little bit, because it typically affects their defense. If they make shots, they end up playing well, playing even tougher defensively. If they don't make shots, you can tell it affects their defense. They start giving up straight line drives. All of a sudden, guys start getting open shots. You can just tell, and that's typical of any team. But if they really want to be a Final Four team, they really gotta nip that in the butt.
The only thing I would say about that is I think that Purdue's defense is always going to be what Purdue's defense is. They don't have great perimeter defenders. They don't have that one kind of lockdown guy that you can throw. I want Jaden Ivey to be that guy. I don't think that is that guy. And then whenever Zach Edey's on the floor, you're going to be a liability in ball screens. Like, I just kind of think they are what they are on that end. Now, the difference maker for them is the fact that they have a historically great offense. They're the number 1 team in offensive efficiency in college basketball this season. They are up there among the best offenses that we have seen since KenPom's database came into place. And on the nights where they don't make a lot of threes, like it just kind of, it is what it is. Now, it didn't help either that Zach Edey was foul trouble for most of this game and could barely see the floor. And also, can we just remember, like, Hunter Dickinson's really good. You know, like there's a reason why he was a preseason first team All-American. What did he finish with tonight? 22, 9, 4 dimes, 3 steals, 2 blocks, and 4 threes. Like that dude. I don't love his big Dickinson energy celebration. Like we need to work on that thing. We need to workshop that a little bit. You're still Hunter Dickinson, but you know, he played really well tonight. He was allowed to do something dumb if he wanted to.
Yeah. Look, he's an All-American talent. I thought early in the season they were trying to figure out so much that Michigan almost sometimes forgot just how good Hunter Dickinson is. And if they didn't forget it, they were trying to figure out other roles that then it was almost getting lost in the shuffle at times that, hey, when in doubt, feed Hunter Dickinson the basketball. And tonight he was getting touches. He was active from the start. Look, he punked Purdue's bigs. I mean, tonight, Hunter Dickinson was the best big man on the floor, which heading into this season, gentlemen, we said, Kofi Cockburn in Illinois, but in the preseason, we were saying Michigan could be a top 5 team in the country. And the reason why is Hunter Dickinson. So the question now is, Rob, and I think that they are, but do you think Michigan will end up finding themselves on the big dance floor?
Oh, man, well, look, here's the spot that they're in right now, right? They are 2-5 against quadrant 1 opponents. They are 3-3 against quadrant 2. And they also have that home loss to Minnesota, which is going to be kind of the anchor on their resume. Their metrics are pretty good. They're top 50 in the net, and I'm sure that's going to end up going up as soon as it kind of recycles. Like I have the numbers I'm looking at are the numbers for before this game from the start of the day. They haven't refreshed yet. So we'll see where that ends up going. But I would say right now they're probably like right there on the cut line. If you were gonna tell me to choose between this Michigan team who has beaten, let me bring up their resume really quick to make sure I get this right. They've beaten Indiana on the road in convincing fashion. They've now beaten Purdue at home in convincing fashion, and they are 13-9 of the season. If you're going to give me that team versus a North Carolina team whose best win is at home against Virginia Tech. Yeah, I think I probably lean towards Michigan getting in. Is that crazy? We're gonna play a little blind resume later on today, which I know you're gonna have fun with, Fanta. So,
I can't wait! It's my favorite game. You ready, Ashton?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Okay, but here's the thing. And by the way, Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, channel 84. We got a great show tonight. We are actually going to talk some mid majors tonight. So if that's your thing, or if you're sitting there saying, well, that's not really my thing, let me tell you something. It better be your thing, because next month we're going to help you fill out a bracket here on the Field of 68. And there's a team right now that you need to know about. It's Murray State. We're going to talk to their head coach coming up on the show tonight. But we're talking right now about Michigan. I think now you beat Purdue. Now in 48 hours, can you keep it going? You're home again to Ohio State. Absolutely a winnable game, Bobby D. Like, that's a situation now where you got to move off this and be able to get another win in Ann Arbor. Because if you win that game over Ohio State, there's not many bubble teams that are putting up the kind of week that Michigan would be having with a win over Purdue and then a win over Ohio State.
You know what the problem is, though? You know, you go 2-0 this week by beating Purdue and Ohio State at home. We're both top 25 teams, by the way. You get rewarded by going on the road to Iowa, who just scored 8,000 points. 8,000 points at Maryland. And then the next thing you get to do is you go on the road and you play Wisconsin and Johnny Davis. Like, okay. Congratulations, Michigan. That's what you get. That's what happens when you play in the Big Ten.
In Big Ten, yeah.
Isn't that true? Like, Ashton, I want to get your perspective on this, because you played in the Big East.
Big East, yeah.
And that was dog eat dog. I mean, every night was a battle. Give me this here, because the Big Ten fan is wondering this. Is there such a thing in which a conference beats itself up so much on the grind that then you do in mid-March, you feel the after effects of that? Is that a legitimate thing in a conference like this?
It's a legitimate thing. You know what I think the most underrated part is how the refs call the games. And when you talk about Big Ten play, letting guys play and, the toughness of, some of the battles, especially down low. You talk about, these are some of the best bigs in the country. And then you get to mid-March and, sometimes the refs are calling chippies, guys get in foul trouble, and it changes the whole dynamic of the game. So it really does affect the guys and, just the grind, the day-to-day grind of practice and then playing against a Wisconsin, then playing against a Ohio State. Those games, they catch up to you, man. But it's the beauty of competition. That's what these guys come to the Big Ten for. That's what you end up committing to a higher level school. And ultimately, if you want to be in the NBA, you want to play against the best players regardless.
Rob, what say you about this theory? Because I was on earlier this week with some of our pals, Jason Horowitz, Sean Farnham, and John Crispin, who do a good job covering the sports. And one of the things that's being talked about by hosts on Big Ten Today, that's on Sirius XM Channel 84, this is Field of 68 After Dark here on XM 84, is that, the Big Ten last year was the best conference in college basketball. But maybe by the time the NCAA tournament rolled around, there were some after effects that resulted in some negative results come tournament time. What do you make of that theory and that idea heading into this NCAA tournament?
Well, I think a lot of what happens in the NCAA tournament is kind of a crapshoot. And I don't necessarily think there's a bad thing when it comes to losing. Sometimes you need to get punched in the mouth to realize what you're doing wrong. And the other part of it is if you win a whole bunch of close games in a row, then sometimes the flaws in what you're doing can kind of be papered over, right? You can kind of say, look, we're good. We'll figure it out because we just won all these games. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep doing what we're doing instead of, taking a bad loss and saying, okay, look, we need to readjust. We need to figure this stuff out. Providence is a perfect example. They got punched in the mouth at Marquette. They haven't lost since, right? So I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. And again, when it comes to college basketball, especially this year, there is nobody that is that much better than anyone else. Losses are going to happen. Mm-hmm. There's going to be times where Michigan, who has an All-American center, is going to shoot 12 for 21 from three. And Purdue, who also has a couple All-Americans on that roster, is going to end up shooting 4 for 18. And you're going to get these weird results on the road. It is what it is. I don't want to overreact too much to it, but it's kind of that this is what college basketball is. And here's one thing that one rant that I have about the way that college basketball is kind of viewed. Every game is kind of put into this big picture talking point where it's like, okay, let's repaint the narrative of an entire season off of one game. No, Purdue played like crap tonight.
Yes.
I think it's just kind of what it is. Michigan played their best game. Purdue played their worst game. It was on the road. It was at Michigan. These things happen. It's sports.
Yes. And by my understanding on Twitter, it was Purdue's 4th game in 7 days. So this has been quite a stretch for them. We had a tweet that came in from Boiler Don. I mean, if it's not their 4th and 7, they're in the midst of a 4th out of a week. This has been a busy week for Purdue. Unless Boiler Don, who tweeted into us, is giving me fake news right now. But Purdue, look, Purdue's one of the best teams in the country. On their best day, they're good enough to win a national championship. If 2 hours really turns your mind on a team, then you haven't been watching enough college basketball this season. Because Purdue is really, really good. They have an NBA lottery pick in Jaden Ivey. They have a legitimate 3, maybe 4 3-point shooters at any time in a game could go for 3 or 4 threes. And they have 2 trees who do things in different ways, but are big-time bigs in Travion Williams and Zach Edey. I think overall, the Purdue Boilermakers are going to be fine. Tonight, they got their clocks cleaned by a Michigan team that's been underperforming, but by a Michigan team that flat out is very desperate right now because they got to put a run together. All right.
Desperation is big, man. People overlooked the value of a team being desperate, especially one that actually has some talent. As much as we malign what this Michigan team has been this season, we can't overlook the fact that Caleb Houston is a top 15 recruit. Moussa Diabate is a top 15 recruit. Hunter Dickinson is an All-American. Eli Brooks is a dude that all of us loved last year. And Devontae Jones was one of the 5 most sought out point guard transfers. It's not like there aren't pieces on this roster.
Oh, no.
It was pieces on this roster.
Michigan's supremely talented, but it just shows in college basketball. It's got to be more than that, Ashton, right?
Oh, for sure. But I think the atmosphere as well, that really helped them, especially, from the beginning of the game, the crowd was into it. And obviously, anytime you have Jaden Ivey coming into your home arena, he's box office now. Like, everybody wants to watch him, and I think they did a really good job of just rising to the occasion.
That's a really great point. T.O. makes this point all the time. Fancy, you've heard it before. Sometimes you have to learn to be the targeted team. Auburn is going through that right now. I think Purdue is going through it a little bit too.
That's life. That's life on a marathon, folks. That's college basketball. There are peaks and valleys. What people thought a month ago of Arkansas is not what they think of them tonight. What people thought of Michigan at the end of December is not what they're thinking right now. You got to be able to find a way to get to that dance floor and have your best foot ready to be forward. Up next, what was in store for Duke tonight as they hit the road to Clemson? Could they bounce back? And what are our big picture thoughts about Coach K and the Blue Devils? Plus, we take a trip down the mid-major lane and we'll welcome in Murray State head coach Matt McMahon. That's all coming up and more on Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84.
Clear for 90.
Okay.
I love Fanta's radio voice. Can we talk about Fanta's radio voice for a second? Sirius XM, Channel 84.
Got to bring it deep into the night. We have questions from MC Lee. Robert, is the Big Ten overrated?
No, I don't think it is.
Not at all.
No, come on. No, it's not overrated. What I will say is this. I think that we might have overvalued a number of teams in that league and the number of national title contenders that are there. I think there are two teams that you can call a real national title contender. That's Purdue and Illinois. And I think Wisconsin can get it done. But yeah, to me, we overvalued a couple of the teams in that league, but Purdue's outperformed expectations. Wisconsin's outperformed expectations. So no, MC Lee, you are incorrect.
From Shannon McMillan, I love Ashton Gibbs on this. His voice is incredible. Ashton, Shannon wants you to be your Valentine's night date.
Oh, that's my Valentine. Will you be my Valentine, Shan? That's the question that I give you.
Shannon, are you a Pittsburgh fan, Shannon? I'm not. I'd like to. Hey,
if you are, my condolences.
Hey, Pitt got to win, didn't they? They got to win, Ashton, right?
They got to win. Florida
20
State.
seconds.
All right, Kevin asks, first, Ashton, is Wisconsin the best team in the Big Ten?
No, not at all. I actually still
10
have
seconds.
Purdue. I'm a Purdue guy, believe it or not. I just think Jaden Ivey should be the number one pick, by the way.
It's the Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84. I'm John Fanta. The panel tonight is Ashton Gibbs and Rob Dauster. We are with you up until about midnight. We've got a lot to come. If you like blind resume game, then you're in for a treat. If you're thinking in your car right now, I don't know what the heck blind resume game is, you are in for a treat. Folks, stay around. Play it with us later on this show. Let's talk about Duke. Duke heading to Clemson tonight. How would they bounce back from an improbable home loss to Virginia? They did in a big way. 82-64 over Clemson. There was a dirty foul in this game. It got out of hand for the Tigers. We'll get to that. Ashton, the immediate reaction to what Duke did.
Played really well, especially after the dirty foul. That whole situation, I thought they kept their composure. Typical Duke. I think the identity, really playing defense, offensively, getting guys involved. They stuck to their guns, and I think Mark Williams is a big timer, man. He finishes around the basket on offense. He changes shots on defense. I thought Jeremy Roach did a good job handling pressure, making plays for guys. And obviously, Paulo Banchero is big time. He hits shots. He makes plays when he needs to. So overall, they look like a top 10 team in the country for sure. There's something missing. I don't know what it is for them to be a Final Four team. I don't know what it is, but something's missing, but obviously still a top 10 team though.
Ooh.
You know what I think it is, Ashton? There's nobody on that team that makes things easier for everybody else, like consistently over and over again. There's no one there that's going to get you those easy drop off dunks as much as you would probably like Mark Williams.
Yep.
I don't know how many vertical spacers there are on college basketball that are better than Mark Williams, and you don't really have a guy that can over and over again just make it so all he has to do is catch a ball and dunk it. Now he was 8 for 8 tonight, and he was terrific tonight. Wendell Moore was able to get the ball to him. I thought Trevor Keels getting into the paint, getting some offensive rebounds, 25 and 11 for him. I thought that was a big difference. And the fact that they hit 9 threes, like AJ Griffin's a difference maker, but they don't consistently have that one playmaker that makes everything easier for everybody else. They kind of, it feels like they do it by committee. They say like, okay, sometimes it's going to be Wendell Moore. Sometimes it'll be Jeremy Roach. Sometimes it'll be Paolo. Sometimes it'll be Trevor Keels. Which is fine, and it works, and they're going to win a lot of games, and they have enough talent that might even be enough to get them to a national title. But it's just they don't have that one consistent point guard, I guess. And it's been the knock all year, right? That's what
it's been the knock. It's been that playmaker. Jeremy Roach is good; he's solid, but you get into March and you get into the NCAA tournament, like you said, Rob. You need easy buckets. You need guys that can make plays and make things easy. And I love Paolo Banchero, but he's still coming into his own and making the game easy for others. He can score at will when he wants to, but I think that's his next step, is making the game easier for others. But Mark Williams, I love him, man. He just really he changes the game. He gives guys energy, not only on defense, but offensively. The dunks that he has, just gives your team energy, and the crowd can go crazy as well.
Yeah, it is problematic. I watch this team play at times, and I think to myself, man, I remember what Trey Jones meant to that Zion RJ show. He did so much for that Duke team. And this is a team that just does not have consistency at the point guard position. And it goes to show you that you could have all the pieces and parts in the toolbox beyond that. But when you don't have someone that can make it easier for everybody around you, it's going to be very difficult to consistently be in flow. Sometimes Duke is scoring the basketball, but they're not necessarily scoring the basketball effectively. Like, it's not a sustainable formula at times. Things come off broken plays. It just looks awkward, if you guys know what I mean. Like, it just looks like there are teams that play that have a ton of talent, and they're able to win a lot of games with their talent. Then there are teams that play where, yeah, they do have talent, but there's also such a scheme approach. They play with such great scheme that scheme's going to give them a better chance than the team with just talent every night. I think Duke has some scheme, but I don't think their personnel matches what they're trying to do. I don't think they have.
I think they do, especially defensively. Like, they have the length and athleticism to kind of wear you down, and then Mark Williams at the rim.
I'm talking offense.
Eraser. Yeah, offensively. Offensively, it can be the kind of thing where they rely a little bit on like isolations, right? Like, how many times have we seen Trevor Keels get the ball on the left wing, square somebody up, put his head down, and go to his right hand?
That's what I'm saying.
Like
they're relying on their talent to make plays.
Yep. And sometimes,
not scheme.
And honestly, like, a lot of times that kind of, like, when you have the talent that they have, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Now, the one thing I will say is this: when we watch UCLA play, UCLA, they just, and so many possessions end with like a tough pull up too. And I don't think that it's quite the same level with the Duke, where you're saying, okay, they're not getting good shots on possessions. I still think they get good shots, right? Because you're also always going to have the guy at the rim, the big fella, is going to be able to catch and shoot. And you do have a guy that's been a sniper, and AJ Griffin. So I feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit, but what I'll say is this: on their best day, when they play their best game, I still think that Duke is the best team. They have the highest ceiling in college basketball. And I think that my biggest concern is that lacking that point guard that can make things easy for everybody else. If you go, like the Virginia game, it's the perfect example. If you run into a night, Ashton, where you're kind of struggling a little bit and you're not getting things easy and it's not going well for you, and they found a way to shut down Paulo and they keep double teaming him, that's when you kind of run into a night where, okay, they might be able to get upset. So I think that if they play their best game for 6 straight games, I think that they win the national title. I think that they're better than Gonzaga.
The problem is you could say that about 15 teams.
Yeah, but yes, but I still do think that if you give me Duke's 100% best performance against any other team's 100% best performance, I would take Duke to win that game. I think that they have the talent to win those games. Whereas I think that you're only going to get their 100% best performance at a lower rate than you would a team like Gonzaga or a team like Baylor or a team like, does that make sense? Like, I think that their best is better than anyone else's best, but I think that it's less often that you're going to see their best because they lack that consistency of the point guard spot.
I think it's
what I'm saying makes sense in my head. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but it works.
It's gonna be a question of their toughness, I think, and that's where Virginia, I think, hit them in the mouth a little bit. They seemed a bit hungrier. They were a little tougher, especially defensively. That's what Virginia is built on. So, can they overcome the physicality of certain teams that they'll end up facing? And they got to come ready. They got to come ready defensively. It starts defensively. And then, like you said, Rob, the point guard play. Can Jeremy Roach, can he have limited turnovers? Can he, control the ball under pressure and just control the pace of the game? I think it's gonna boil down to that for sure.
And you know what else? I do think experience is a factor. Powell is a freshman. Trevor Keels is a freshman. AJ Griffin is a freshman. Mark Williams is a sophomore that didn't really get into the rotation until the end of last season. Jeremy Roach is a sophomore. Neither of those guys have ever played in front of crowds at the college level until this season. Wendell Moore has never played in an NCAA tournament game. Think about that. He's a junior at Duke. He's never played in an NCAA tournament game. When was the last time that you could say that about anybody that was a junior at Duke that didn't transfer in?
Yeah,
so
and
I do think that. Go ahead.
That's why I don't like Duke in the NCAA tournament. I also think that there's something to be said about the fact that when they walk in to an arena, it's going to be like Tiger Woods at the Masters. Mm-hmm. Coach K is going to be followed by hundreds of people. It's going to be a media mob, an international media mob. It is going to be very difficult for these 18 and 19-year-old kids to keep their level of focus on that NCAA tournament stage. That is a genuine concern that I have. And I think that this Duke team is supremely talented and could make the Final Four. I want to be clear on that. I do worry about the ACC. I don't know if the ACC is preparing them as well as another league would prepare a team for the NCAA tournament. And too many times in ACC play, I've seen them struggle by not having enough guard play on the offensive end of the floor.
I love that you just gave the Gonzaga argument for Duke and the ACC. That's so funny to me. The ACC stinks, man.
Ashton's just being quiet in his corner.
It's bad.
Hey, wait,
my Pitt Panthers. It's not a good year right now, man.
Ashton
got a big win the other day, though.
You did. We have breaking news, Ashton. I want to get your reaction before I get Rob's. The people on the stream are going to see Rob's facial reaction. After that win over Purdue, Michigan's KenPom rating has gone from 47 to 27.
Please, no one tell Jeff Goodman. Nobody tell Jeff Goodman. I could please.
Wow.
I'm begging everybody. Do not tell Jeff Goodman what happened here tonight. Please don't. I can't deal with him anymore. Purdue's down to number 10. They're done. Purdue's washed. Purdue, by the way, they're now 126th in defensive efficiency. I got a stat for you guys really quick. The lowest that a team has ever been rated, and the KenPom's database is 21 years old. The lowest the team has ever been rated heading into the tournament on his adjusted defensive efficiency ratings while winning the tournament was North Carolina in 2009 when they were ranked 39th. Purdue was 126th.
Wow.
That's not good. Duke in 2015 when they won were ranked 37th heading into the tournament. It's not good. That's a problem. Purdue fans, watch out. I had one Purdue fan in my mentions on Twitter that was saying, are you going to tell everyone how Purdue's washed and the season's over? I think I just did. Call it. Season's done.
Man, 20 spot jump in Ken Pomeroy's ratings. That is going to draw some major traffic. You're exactly right. Mr. Goodman, who has made some of his his thoughts aware. Not all of them are mathematically correct, but that makes them that much more entertaining. So, yeah, Michigan jumping from 47 to 27 in KenPom. That is quite the leap. Hey, coming up, we welcome in Murray State head coach Matt McMahon. Tonight, the Racers, they kept on rolling. They're 22-2 on the season, and they're ranked in the top 25, and they had someone score 39 points tonight. You want help with your bracket in a month? We give you help by covering everybody in the country. Stay tuned for that conversation next. This is the Field of 68 After Dark on Sirius XM, Channel 84.
Clear for 90.
All right. So Matt said he should be here in about 5 minutes. I'm texting with the SID, Greg.
Awesome. Okay. Ryan Tons asks, is Hubert Davis on the hot seat if North Carolina misses the tournament?
No, not yet. But I think he does need to beat Duke next year.
Wow.
I think that's huge. That isn't spoken enough.
Look, Ryan,
1 minute.
I appreciate the question, Ryan Tots, but Ryan, you can't fire Hubert Davis after one season.
No,
You
he'll get at
cannot
least
do
2
it.
years.
Come
He'll
on,
get at
man.
least 2 years, and if he makes one tournament, then I think that he'll get at least 3. You can't. Roy Williams is a legend. You cannot fire the guy that Roy Williams handpicked to take over that program after one season.
Ooh, great question from successful manager Ashton. Top 2 SEC teams versus top 2 Big Ten teams. Who would win?
30
Who's
seconds.
So basically, Auburn
I
and
would go
Kentucky.
I would go
20.
Auburn and Kentucky.
I will go
Auburn
SEC.
and
I will go
Kentucky.
SEC.
I agree.
Auburn and SEC. Yeah.
They're
Top
two
of
of the
the
top 5
SEC.
teams in the country. Hot take.
Yep.
2 of the top 5 teams in the country.
I love Kentucky.
10
by the way.
seconds.
Is Illinois a potential Final Four team from Jordan? Yes, they are. We all agree with that.
5, 2, 1.
It is the Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84. John Fanta, Robert Dauster, Ashton Gibbs with you tonight here on Field of 68. We're with you every night, 11 Eastern time. My man Rob called me this morning. He was so excited this morning. I don't know if you drink coffee, Dauster, but you were that pumped because you were talking through your thoughts. Your brain was going on March plans, and none of those are public yet. But folks, buckle up, because before we get to Matt McMahon for Murray State, I want a quick state of the sport here in your 60 seconds, like you always know how to deliver. It is Thursday, February 10th, Rob. What is the state of college basketball as we are just over a month from Selection Sunday?
I don't think it's ever been better, right? We have 10, 12 teams in college basketball that are legitimately great right now, right? We have multiple conference races that are going to be really, really good coming down the stretch of the season. We have teams that are pulling upsets. We have Purdue, who everyone on Monday said is going to go out and win the Big Ten. They're a lock to win the Big Ten because they just beat Illinois. They beat the brakes off them. Now they go on the road to a Michigan team that is struggling, and they lose by 20. They get worked over, right? We have Duke coming off of a loss, going on the road and picking up a win in ACC play. Honestly, my expectations coming into the season was that this was going to be the best college basketball year that we've had in a long time. I don't know if it was just because I'm 2 years into a pandemic, but I've never been more excited for a college basketball season, and it has delivered, guys. It has delivered. This has been a great year. I cannot be more fired up for March. I don't think it's possible for me to be more fired up in March, and it's not just because I got a little glass of the brown stuff over here.
Ashton.
I love the amount of individual skill from the players. I think there are so many guys from top to bottom that will be NBA role guys or NBA superstars. You talk about Paolo Banchero to Chet Holmgren, Johnny Davis, Jaden Ivey. You go, Kentucky, Ty Washington. Like you talk about the number of guys that can be not only NBA role players, but maybe future NBA stars.
Man, is special. Ashton, you talk about the wealth of players, so I'm going to put you on the hot seat. If you had to vote for a National Player of the Year right now, who are you voting for?
I was last week. I was Obagi. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to stick with him. I say right now. I like Jabari Smith. Auburn hasn't been consistent. National. I will go with Obagi right now. But it's tough. It's tough because I'm a Jaden Ivey fan. I think he's the number one pick in the draft. So, I'm a Jaden Ivey fan, but overall, Purdue just hasn't been winning, obviously, with the loss to Michigan today. So that's a tough one.
Rob?
I would go Johnny Davis. I just think that he has been the most valuable guy on the state. Like, without him, Wisconsin is not, they're like a 3 seed right now. Without him, they're nowhere near that. And he's also had huge moments when everyone's like, we all saw him put up 30 on Houston. We all saw him drop 37-14 at Purdue. We saw him drop 25 at Michigan State on, what was that, Monday? Whatever it was. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I can't keep track of these days at this point. But yeah, to me, I would give it to Johnny Davis.
All right, let's get to our conversation tonight. We've got the head coach of the Murray State Racers, the 23rd team in the country, 23rd ranked Murray State Racers, who are 23-2. Let's welcome in Matt McMahon. It is great to be joined by the 7th-year head coach of the Murray State Racers. Matt McMahon is with us on Field of 68 After Dark. Sirius XM, Channel 84. John Fanta, Rob Dauster, Ashton Gibbs with you. And Matt McMahon, you have engineered one of the great stories in college basketball this season. Now 23-2 on the season. 13-0 in conference play after KJ Williams leads you with 39 points tonight to the win over Tennessee State. So, Matt, I'll start with this. KJ Williams, 39 points. What did you see from him this evening?
Well, the fans need to tune in and go watch the second half. He scored 31 of them in the second half. Just an all-time great performance here at Murray State. KJ 6'10", 245 pounds. He'll soon become the 3rd player in the history of Murray State basketball with 1,500 points and 800 rebounds. He's a stud. And he put on an all-time great performance tonight.
Coach, you've been around some great guards, Campaign, John Morant. How does Tevin Brown match up with those guys? He's a big-time player.
Yeah, I think he's the most underappreciated player in all of college basketball, any level. He does a little bit of everything well. He'll finish at Murray State, probably about top 8 all-time in scoring. Finished top 5 in assists, top 5 in steals. He's the OVC's all-time leading three-point shooter, and he's just an incredibly smart player. His movement without the ball and his impact on winning is off the charts.
So, Coach, you guys are sitting here at 23-2 on the season, like Fanta just said. You're 13-0 in your league. You are blowing people out. You're winning games on the road. You have a win at Memphis. You have a win at Belmont. I don't think people realize just how good a win at Belmont is these days. But it feels like for programs that are kind of in your spot, it feels like every game is almost a tournament at this point of the season, right? Where if you lose one, all of a sudden you prove yourselves as not worthy. What kind of pressure does that carry with on a given night for you guys?
Yeah, Rob, I think it's a great point. That's just the reality of college basketball. But I think our guys have shown great maturity. We have great toughness and character in our locker room. And we just enjoy playing. I mean, KJ had 39 tonight. Tevin Brown's had a 30-plus point game. Juice Hill had 36 in the win at Belmont. I think we're one of 5 teams now in the country that's top 25 in offensive and defensive efficiency. So we have great balance there. And I tell you what really helped us, I know going into today, we're top 25 in the KenPom. And of those top 25 teams, we have the 7th most difficult non-conference schedule. So I think the challenges of the non-conference really prepared us well. And, that's how, life on the road tonight, right? A great environment. Every game's tough. And I was really proud of the way our guys battled back. We're down 13 in the first half.
Oh, I watched it. I watched the game. It was a weird court setup, but I do want to elaborate on the point on you guys going on the road. So we were talking about it before you kind of jumped on how Purdue goes on the road tonight and loses by like 27 at Michigan. And we're all just kind of like, yeah, that's life in college basketball. Whereas a program like yours, if you go on the road at a place like Tennessee State, which is a good team, a rowdy environment, and you lose that game, then that's something where we're like, okay, write them off. They're done. Murray State was overrated. I don't think that's fair. And I don't know if how hard you want to go in it, but I think it's unfair. I want people to be able to watch you guys. I want people to look at KenPom and say, okay, that's a top 25 team. They've proven themselves. So I will rally for you guys. I don't know if you want to go as hard as I will.
Well, no, I appreciate it. It's just the reality of college hoops, and that's fine. We've had elite teams here before. It's part of it. But I love our team. I don't think the casual college basketball fan understands how good Morehead State, Belmont, Murray State are. I mean, those are 3 really good teams that can go up against most teams in the country. So, we do a pretty good job, I think, with our players of just really staying focused on, as boring as it is for these podcasts, controlling what we can control and just trying to keep getting better and just win the next game. And that's all we can really afford to worry about. We're a little beat up after tonight, so we've got to get rested up. And then we're going to play at Morehead on Thursday. And our first matchup with them was a war. You had to fight and scrap for every point you got. So I'm sure Saturday will be more of the same.
Matt McMahon is our guest, the head coach of the 23rd ranked team in the nation, Murray State, moving to 23-2 after a win tonight. And Matt, one of our cast members on Field of 68 of our rotation is your buddy, Steve Prohm, who you've spent a lot of time with. And so we have to ask you here, because we know Coach Prohm is having a snack right now at home with his newborn. What is your best Steve Prohm story?
Give us something good, man. You
gotta give us something man.
Good. It's called After Dark for a reason. You don't have to hold back.
Yeah, I really don't, man. But you opened the door for me. He's been just such an unbelievable mentor for me. He's the one who gave me the opportunity to come to Murray State 11 years ago and be a part of his magical 4-year run here. Unbelievable coach, one of the most genuine people in all of college basketball. I will say this, as an assistant, we would get annoyed with him. Every shoot around, we would work on here's what we're doing against triangle and 2. Here's what we're doing against box and 1. He wanted every detail covered. And we always said, Coach, man, no one's played us triangle and 2 in 4 years. But we go and play Colorado State in the NCAA tournament back in 2012. And sure enough, they played us triangle and 2. And we had worked on it every shoot around all year. And really learned from that. You got to be prepared for everything. And I can't wait to see where he ends up coaching this spring.
I don't know how I feel about all of these Steve Prohm compliments on here. Can we just make fun of him for being a Washington Commanders fan now? Can you at least do that?
Yeah, no, we definitely do that. Yeah, we definitely do that. That's for sure. But the best in the business, man. I'm really appreciative of what he's done for me and continues to do. Been a great mentor to me.
Matt, we've got 30 seconds before we've got a break here. Sirius XM Channel 84. So I'll have you leave us with this. Next month, I know you very much hope, and we all believe you're deserving of seeing Murray State on the 68 team bracket somewhere. Tell America right now why a month from now, when they get a pencil out, it doesn't matter who's on the other side. Why should America believe in Murray State?
Yeah, that's your guys' job. Our job is to build a great team. And if you go check our resume, I think it speaks for itself. I told you about the non-conference strength of schedule. I told you about the balance on offense, defense. Most importantly, we got damn good players. Tevin Brown, KJ Williams, Juice Hill. I can go down the line. We got guys who can play anywhere in America. So that gives us an opportunity to win every night out.
Matt McMahon, the head coach of the 23-2 Murray State Racers. What a season. It's one of the great stories in college basketball, and they're ranked in the top 25, and rightfully so. Matt, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Field of 68 After Dark.
Hey, privileged to be here. Let's go Racers.
There he is, Matt McMahon. Up next here on After Dark, we will play the blind resume game. All right, we're about to get there here. We're about to get to the best segment, what has become my favorite segment of the week. It's Blind Resume Game. If only Greg Waddell had game show music underneath this, that's the only thing that it would make it better. But before we play, because we have a minute now, Rob, what has gone on this network this week in the metrics versus resume debates?
Oh my God! I can't. Why are you doing this to me?
Because I'm a host.
Here sleeping. He's not even. Look, Jeff.
You have to
Jeff
pick and prod.
Jeff Goodman is great at what he does, as long as it does not involve any kind of math, any kind of metrics, or understanding the difference between something that is predictive and something that is resume based. I'm going to give it to you guys, so you guys are
30 seconds.
Listen on YouTube. Predictive metrics. They are telling you what is going to happen in the future. Resume-based metrics, they're telling you what a team has been able to
20
accomplish
seconds
in terms of wins or losses. Providence has won a bunch of close games and got smacked in their 2 losses. They are not going to look good in the predictive metrics because of that. It's just
10.
something where resume tells you what has happened, predictive tells you what to bet on moving forward. It's that simple.
5, 2, 1.
It's now time for the latest edition of the Field of 68 Blind Resume Game. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, John Fanta. We are presented by Bet Rivers. This is Sirius XM, Channel 84. It is the best game this time of year. So buckle up and let's see if we can stump our panelists. Tonight's panel includes Ashton Gibbs, contestant number 1. And Rob Dauster, contestant number 2. Okay, it's time for blind resumes.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing a victory tonight. I don't know how we're scoring this, but I'm guaranteeing a victory against Ashton tonight.
Okay, so here's how we score who wins.
I like it.
We score who wins. Producer Greg and I will score who we think should be in the tournament, and then we'll determine who wins. It's kind of like back in the day when Reese Davis would host with Lou Holtz and Mark May, college football programming, and Reese would always side with Lou Holtz just to make Mark May mad. I might do that tonight. We'll see. There are no rules. This is the blind resume game. I'm going to give you each a resume. You're going to tell me who belongs in the field. Are you ready? Okay,
I'm ready.
Okay, team number 1 has a net ranking of 76. Their KenPom is 77. Their strength of schedule is 42. Quadrant 1, 4 and 5. 4 quadrant 1 wins. Quadrant 2, 0 and 2. 0 and 2 against quad 2. Quadrant 3, 5 and 1. Quadrant 4, 5 and 0. So nothing in quadrant 4 in terms of losses. No quadrant 2 wins, but 4 quad 1 wins. That's team number 1. Okay. Team number 2 has a net ranking of 41. They have a KenPom rating of 43. Their strength of schedule is 27. Their quadrant 1 record is 0-7. Their quadrant 2 record is 4-0. Their quadrant 3 record is 8-0. And their quadrant 4 record is 5-0.
You said
Ashton,
team number 2 was how many quad 1 wins? You said no quad 1 wins?
0. So
Zero,
team
okay.
number 2 has no quad 1 wins. Team number 1 has 4.
4.
Team number 2 has 4 quad 2 wins, but team number 1 has none. Ashton, which team belongs in the field?
I'm going quad 1 wins. Team 1.
Robert?
Oh man, this one's tough.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a really tough one because it's like the two polar opposites. The one team has the clearly better metrics, but they haven't beaten anybody. The other team has clearly worse metrics, but they've beaten all these good wins. I'm going to go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with team number 1. Wait, no, team number 2. I'm going to go with the metrics team just because I've kind of certified myself as the metrics guy. Where I gotta say, you gotta buy the metrics. you gotta buy into the math nerds. Okay, who are they?
Team number 1 is Creighton. Team number 2 is North Carolina.
Can I reverse it?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
That's me.
We've reached a decision, and I didn't even have to consult with the sheriff, Greg Waddell. Ashton Gibbs has taken a 1-0 lead by putting the Creighton Blue Jays in the field.
You guys set me up, man. Unbelievable.
Good start, Ashton. Way to set the tone. This is the goal of the game. Try to get Dauster off his horse.
Yes, sir.
All right. Blind resume, game number 2. So Dauster's down a game. Now, he's rumored that he had a good basketball career. So did you ever fall behind early in a game and then rally your team?
Probably not.
Okay, so team...
I'm throwing in the towel. I can't believe I just picked North Carolina into the tournament.
Dagan Hughes, our other producer, goes, Rob, how the hell did you not know that was North Carolina?
Well, because I cheated and I looked at the KenPom score, and right now San Diego State is 43rd.
You're not
so
allowed
I thought we were
to
doing
cheat.
San Diego State. Well, I had KenPom up.
Oh,
It wasn't.
on.
I had to. It was the screen from when we were talking about the other thing with KenPom, so it was up, and I was like, let me take a peek. So
blind resume. Game number 2. Team number 1 has a net ranking of 40. KenPom 38. Okay. Strength of schedule 199. 199. Strength of record 65. Their quadrant 1 record is 2-1. Their quadrant 2 record is 2-2. Their quadrant 3 record is 5-1. Their quadrant 4 record is 7-1. So they have a quadrant 4 loss. Okay. All right. Want to hear team 2 here? Team number 2.
let's do it.
So team number 1's net was 40. Team number 2's net. Rob, are you cheating still?
No, I'm not. The text messages are going off right now. And I'm just like, I'm getting yelled at. Producer Greg is yelling at me for trying to cheat and not doing it well enough.
Yeah, the whole production crew is upset at you right now, myself included. Team number 2, the net ranking is 72. The KenPom ranking is 71. Okay, so first off, team number 1 net ranking was 40 and 38 for KenPom.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, 72 net, 71 KenPom. Their strength of schedule 61. Strength of record is 40. Quad 1 record 2-1. Quad 2 record 5-4. Quad 3 record 6-2. Quad 4 record 4-0.
I got to go team number 1 because to me, both of those resumes are pretty similar. One team has worse metrics and worse losses and bad losses. So I would go team number 1 there.
Even though, go ahead.
I'm gonna go team 2.
It's just like just because I went team 1. Okay.
Wait.
So
okay.
like
All right, hold on. I'm gonna bring in the sheriff. Greg, put
Tell
your
us
you
who
can
they
put
were.
your
Who were they?
microphone on. Okay, team number 1 was UAB. That's who. That's who.
Put 'em in.
That's who
Let's
Rob
do it.
has.
Let's
Team
do
number-
it. Let's go.
team number
Fighting
2.
AKs.
Team number 2 is Miami.
Get him out of here.
All right,
Mm.
I'm here,
See ya.
boys.
See
I'm
ya.
here, boys. And just for the sake of going to round 3, I'm giving this one to Rob. Bobby D for the win. But he has to promise not to cheat round 3, though, because that's a brutal
Stop cheating.
I wasn't.
I don't
It wasn't
understand
intentional.
what is going on with the game. The point of the game is integrity
This
here.
guy's a cheater, man.
Yeah, come on, folks. Okay, so we're going to put
Integrity.
UAB.
I'm trying to win here. I'm trying to win here, folks.
Okay, but here's the one thing I have with UAB before we get to the final game. They have 4 quad 1-2 wins. Miami has a combined 7.
Yeah, quite one.
The metrics are so much lower.
You're right.
The metrics are so much lower. Without knowing specifically what those wins are, and again, like Miami, if you had said they have also won at Duke, then that changes things a little bit. But I do think that if you're just looking at those quadrants,
Yeah.
give me UAB.
Okay,
All right, go ahead. We're running
we
out
have
of
2
time.
minutes. Team number 1. This is blind resume game number 3 to decide it. Team 1, net ranking 48. KenPom ranking 51. Strength of schedule 63. Quad 1, 1-5. Quad 2, 3-2. Quad 3, 5-0. Quad 4, 7-1. They have 1 quad 4 loss. No quad 3 losses. Team number 2's net ranking is 37. Their KenPom is 32. So they're higher in those. Their strength of schedule, though, is 193. Team 1 is 63. Team 2, quadrant 1 record, 0-2. Quad 2, 2-1. Quad 3, 7-3. Quad 4, 5-1.
Give it to Team 1. Team 1 all the way.
Even though
Gotta
their
be
net's
Team 1.
lower. Even though their net.
Gotta
I
beat
got
someone.
Team
They've actually beaten someone. They have four quad 3 and 4 losses. Got to go Team 1. Me and Ashton are on the same page here. You can't fool me on this.
That was an
Greg.
easy one.
Then
Yeah,
we'll
you
just
can't
have
fool
to
me.
Gotta be Team
resume.
1.
We'll have to resume things next week because as it stands, I'm giving you both a point. So Ashton and Rob are tied in this round of the blind resume game because Team 1 was
Who are the
Florida.
teams?
Team 1 was Florida, and team number 2 was Washington State.
Yeah, Wazoo got to get out of here.
Sorry, Wazoo.
Sorry, Kyle Smith.
Wazoo, you've dropped 4 combined games in quad 3 and 4. All right, we got a minute left.
Sorry, Klay Thompson.
Rob, your final thoughts here tonight. Your final thought before we get out of here.
Hey, man, look, it's a random Thursday night in college basketball season, and we had 4 top 10 teams on the road tonight. How do you not love this sport, Fanta?
It's the best. It's the best. Ashton,
Best.
fire, 10 seconds.
Wolverines, baby. Huge win against Purdue. I think this is the start of a mini streak for sure.
For Ashton Gibbs, for Rob Dauster, exactly Greg Waddell. Credit to KJ Williams. He scored 39 tonight for Murray State. I'm John Fanta. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow on Field of 68 After Dark on Sirius 84. Okay, Field of 68 After Dark after. So I don't know, like if I were to proclaim a winner, I'm still not sure about the integrity of the game. I thought Ashton played, he set the tone, but you're both.
I played fairly, right?
You did.
I
couldn't even cheat well.
We have to
All right.
play with Goodman.
All right,
Goodman has to play this game.
here's what we need to do. Fanta, do the reads I sent you real quick. Greg, while he does that, can you just text him a list? We need one tiebreaker. Pick one team in or out. One team in or out on the bottle. We need
Go
a
ahead,
tiebreaker
Greg.
for this. While you do the reads, Fanta.
Okay, here is our read tonight. Hey Ashton, let me ask you something. Let me try that again. Hey Ashton, let me ask you something. What's more important than peace of mind, Ashton Gibbs? Nothing. That's what
Nothing at all.
NordVPN is here for, to give you peace of mind while you are online. And with all the threats that you face today on the internet, I know you do, sir, it is more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity, most servers, and next-gen encryption to make sure that everything you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all of your computers and devices, no matter the operating system. With NordVPN's unlimited bandwidth, you never have to worry about a slow connection either, and plans start at under $4 per month. So grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/believe or use the code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV to get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan plus one additional month for free. It's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Hey, Rob, want to make some money?
Yeah, I do.
How about you invest it in an exciting asset that's outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% for 25 years?
And what would that be, John Fanta?
I'm talking about art. Masterworks is the new investing app that lets you invest in blue-chip paintings from icons like Picasso, Monet, and Warhol without needing millions. Over 300,000 people have already signed up. Get priority access with our unique program. You can log on to masterworks.art/believe. That's masterworks.art/believe. BLEAV. Feel the 68 After Dark is presented by Bet Rivers. John Fanta, Ashton Gibbs, Rob Dauster with you. Okay, I have here the two teams that Greg has decided on. And I have to tell you, Mr. Waddell, you've outdone yourself because I love it. I think that these two are perfect for us to look up. And so I am going right now to the metrics page. Okay.
I've put all my browsers down, my phone down, hands over here. See, there you go.
Now I'm going to play a little theory. I'm not going to give you the KenPom because I'm not going to. I'm giving you the net and what they've done.
All right.
Here we go. Hold on a second. Team number 1 has a net ranking of 63. Their overall record is 16-7. Quadrant 1 record is 2-5. Quadrant 2 record is 3-1. Quadrant 3 record is 7-1. Quadrant 4 record is 4-0. Okay. They are, I'm looking at it now, 6-3 on the road. So they've collected road wins. They have 6 road wins. All right. That's team number 1. Team number 2 is 13-9. 2-5 against quadrant 1. That's the same record as the first team. 3-3 against quadrant 2. So 3 solid enough, but also 3 losses. 4-1 against quadrant 3 and 4-0 against quadrant 4. And they are, I'm looking at their road record here. Hold on a second. Their road record, just to give you all the facts, is 3-6. They're 3-6 away from their home court. So who you got? Team 1 or team 2?
I'm going with team 2.
1.
Team 2. You got to get team 2 in there. Got to get them in. You have to
6-3 on the road, 2-5.
Yeah,
16-7.
Team 3 though, it's
Team
got the
3.
feel of a. I'm sorry, team 2's got the feel of a group that's about to make a run. You know those two
come on.
wins.
Oh my
those 2
God.
quad wins are big. They just got the feel of a team that is about to make a run.
Greg.
Yeah, here's
100%.
Fanny, you want to know why you didn't say the KenPom
KenPom
number
number
for team number 2?
Team number
Greg.
2?
Because I was just looking at the resume.
Greg, come on, Greg.
Look,
Greg, you know they're
here's,
about to make a run.
here's the thing. They are about to make a run. That's damn sure. But we, Fanta, we don't reward pandering on the field of 68 after dark, which is what Bobby D just tried to do to me. So for that reason, Ashton Gibbs is the winner tonight.
Yes.
Unbelievable. We need to recount these judges.
I like it.
No, he won.
Here?
Hold
What
on,
is
I'm just
going
putting it out
on?
on Twitter. Ashton
Unbelievable.
Gibbs beats Rob Dauster in tonight's blind
I'm taking that home, man.
resume.
I'm
game.
taking that with me, Rob.
Ashton,
get these guys outta here.
congratulations. Ashton,
Who was
congratulations.
the?
Come on, man. I'm rooting for Pitt this year, man. I need a win.
Team number 2 was
Oh.
obviously Michigan. Who was
Okay.
team number 1?
Team 1 was Notre Dame.
Yes,
Wow.
I would still say put
Okay.
Michigan in there over Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I think both should be in. I think both are going to.
I actually agree with you. Oh, Dagan Hughes says I got another if you guys need it. Dagan, go ahead. It was kind of a light night, so just text it to me and we'll get it in here. Before he does that here, I want to talk about this. Okay? Because who's on tomorrow night? Who's on the show tomorrow night? Robert?
I don't think
we're off tomorrow. Okay, we're off tomorrow, so that's why this is perfect, Greg. Perfect for us to talk about right now. Rob, tomorrow night there's a top 25 game. Number 24 UConn and number 25 Xavier.
Xavier's winning. By 20.
At Xavier?
See, again, Xavier, I can't take it seriously because he is doing a reverse jinx here, Ashton. Do you
I'm
see
not doing the reverse. This is the perfect spot for Xavier to be in. Line opened up UConn +1 at Bet Rivers. It's already up to UConn +2 at Bet Rivers. I'm telling you, man, this is the perfect spot for this is a must-win game. They're coming off a 1-point loss. They got to get this one. Like this is home, the season on the line. Yeah. This game Friday for Xavier is what UConn's game at home against Marquette was on Tuesday. So I'm not even trying to reverse jinx. Like this is you're walking into a cauldron in the Cintas Center. It's gonna be a tough one, man.
Yeah, one thing is though, Ashton, and I'm sure you saw some of Xavier Seton Hall last night. Xavier right now is an inconsistent basketball team, and UConn for that matter has been too as of late. What I look at though is Xavier last night against Seton Hall gave up 17 offensive rebounds to the Pirates. 17-4 was the offensive rebounds. Overall in the rebounding category was 41-28. If you're going to beat UConn, right, Ashton, you got to be able to box out Adama Sanogo and Isaiah Whaley.
Oh, for sure, man. And then you gotta stay in front of your guards. RJ Cole, he can have a field day with the amount of freedom that he gets. And he gets downhill on a lot of plays. If you go under screens, he's knocking down open threes from the perimeter. So I think it's a game Xavier needs to win, though. So I do think they win.
I got a take for you, Fanta. I'm curious your opinion on this.
Yeah.
You're our resident Big East guy. I think Tyrese Martin is by far the most important player on UConn. He's not their best player. I think you got to give that to Adama Sanogo. And he's probably not the most valuable because if you lose RJ Cole, you don't have a point guard on that team. But when UConn is at their best under Danny Hurley, they are a team that is going to win off of energy, off of effort, and off of doing things like defending and forcing turnovers and getting second chance shots. You're not relying on them to run like this beautiful offense and get this floor spacing and reinvent the wheel. And they're not a John Beeline team. Right? They're winning off of rebounds and efforts and turnovers and forced shots, and they run really good stuff. Like I've said it a ton of times. Dan Hurley has a deep playbook with a ton of counters and a ton of creative actions. But this is a team that wins off of effort and off of second chance points. And Tyrese Martin is that team's heart and soul. When he's the guy that is screaming at the crowd after getting an offensive rebound, when he's the guy that's dropping dimes to Adama Sanogo and throwing up the goggles like this and running down the floor like this, that's when they are at their best. So to me, when Tyrese Martin shows up and is that dude, that's when UConn goes from being like, you know what, they're pretty good to being like, okay, now we got a problem on our hands. So
I agree with that take, and here's why. Because he is the number 2 to Cole on the perimeter. Cole is the lead ball handler. Lead ball handler doesn't necessarily mean lead scorer. And I think for RJ Cole, so much has been put on his plate, but it doesn't have to be that way. I thought against Marquette, UConn did a good job of distributing the basketball, sharing the basketball. This is a team sometimes that the ball stops for them in their half court. And if you look at the analytics to that game, Cole's usage and his shot taking was not as high as it's been in the recent couple of games when he scored 25. Tyrese Martin is a huge key to this UConn team. To me, though, you can't get nothing from the 2 spot. You can't get nothing from whoever's with Cole in that backcourt. I thought last game, I'm not saying I agree with the Martin take. And I'm not saying that this is something that you're counting as a significant major key, but it's key enough for me to bring up. Isn't it amazing, Rob, what happened when Jordan Hawkins just hit a couple of shots for this offense?
Oh yeah. It opens everything up. Jordan and Tyler are like the guys. They're like the X factors. With they're playing great. I've said this before. If Jordan Hawkins spends the next month having the run that James Bouknight had in the last month of his freshman season, then we're having a totally different conversation about UConn. Yeah, but I talked to enough. Don't if you let me go down to UConn Road, we will sit here for the next 30 minutes.
No, we're not going to do it because
I'll do it.
Dagan Hughes. By the way, Ashton, who wins? UConn and Xavier. Who wins?
Xavier. I have Xavier. It's a must-win for Xavier. I agree with Rob, honestly. It was a tough loss. I mean, that loss to Seton Hall was big. So, you have to win this game.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this is a great matchup for UConn, but it just I think Xavier is good enough where if they get home in front of that crowd like that, it's just you're walking into a buzzsaw. And it's just like, again, that's league play. It's league play on the road. Any road when you get in league play is a gift. What did were you on here when Billy Donovan came on? Billy Donlin, the head coach at I think he's at UMKC right now, and they won at Missouri. And he came on here and he said road wins are better than sex.
Hey,
that's what league play is, man. It is what
road wins are great, man. They are. All right, we have another blind resume here before we go because people are loving this game. I love it. And Dagan Hughes sent in the suggestion, so all bow down to Dagan. I will listen to his blind resume.
Dagan, it's your night off. Go get a beer, man. What are you doing?
Whoa, he lives for this stuff. He lives for this stuff. Here he goes. I've got that. I almost just said one of the team's names. Here we go. So team number 1 has a net ranking of 42. Okay. Overall, they're 18-6. Okay. They are 4-1 in road games, for what it's worth. 4-1 in road games. Quadrant 1, 2-3. Quadrant 2, 4-2. Quadrant 3, 5-0. Quadrant 4, 7-1. They have a quadrant 4 loss. That always means something, and they only have 2 quadrant 1 wins. Okay. Team number 2 has a net ranking of 49. They are 16-6 on the season. They are 4-3 in road games. Team number 2 is 1-3 against quadrant 1. 1-3. They only have 1. Team number 2 is 3-2 against quad 2. 3-2 against quad 2. 3-1 against quadrant 3. 9-0 against quadrant 4. They've played 9 quadrant 4.
Did you say what was the road record for the second team again?
Team number 2 is 4-3. 4-3 on the road. They are 2-0 on a neutral floor as well.
Yeah, I think I got to give it to team number 2.
Yeah.
I think I got to give it to team. You said that they were 2-3 against quad 1, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so I think
yes,
I'm gonna go team 2. I'm gonna go team 2.
I think I got to give it to team number 2.
Now, I think this is interesting. Excuse me. Team 2 is 1-3 against quad 1. So team number 1 is 2-3, but team number 1 has a quadrant 1 loss. Team 2 does not have a quad 1 loss.
Quad 4 loss. Yeah.
A quad 4 loss. Right. It's 12-13.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to switch
1-3 and quad 1 is team 2.
I'm going to go team number 1. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to team number 1, mostly just because Ashton is team number 2, and I gotta mix it up.
Okay.
I was about to change, but I'll stay team 2. I'm gonna stay team 2.
Okay. Team number 1 is San Francisco. Team number 2 is St. Louis.
Yeah, Dons all the way, baby. Got to give it to the Dons.
That's San Fran.
See, now it's even again. See, Dagan actually helped Rob by playing another round of this game.
Yeah.
So the series is tied at 2, and we'll resume it on another After Dark maybe next.
Well, here's the problem. San Francisco doesn't after the loss that they took. Like I wanted to get.
You don't think so?
The Dons love Todd Golden, but you can't. They're in such a tough spot. They can still get in because there are good wins available in that league. But I think they're kind of at a point where you almost have to beat Gonzaga, which is good luck.
Who would be, let's talk about this for a moment. I'll give this to you guys because I'm shooting this off the wall to you. My 4 number 1 seeds right now would be Gonzaga, Auburn, even after the loss. Gonzaga, Auburn, Arizona.
It gets tough, man. After those first 2, it gets tough.
It's
tough.
Arizona and Purdue. Even after the loss tonight, I still would give Purdue the nod at the 1. Yeah. So Gonzaga, Auburn, Arizona, Purdue.
I think my guess is that if Kansas ends up winning the Big 12 regular season title,
okay,
they're probably going to end up getting it just because I think that they're going to start piling up a lot of great wins. I think they lead the country with 8 quad 1 wins right now, and losing at Texas, like Texas is the top 15 team in all the metrics. So I think they're going to be able to stack up enough good wins because the lowest rated team.
Rob, Baylor has 8. Kansas has 7. So Baylor could still get it.
But yeah, I think whoever wins the Big 12 regular season title, one of those 2 teams is going to get it. Kansas or
That's
Baylor.
fair. The best team from the Big 12 should get a 1 seed. What do you think, Ashton?
Yeah, I think so. Gonzaga, Auburn, Baylor, Arizona.
Yeah. After the, I think it's Gonzaga, Auburn, someone from the Big 12, and then you have the other person from the Big 12. You have Purdue, you have Arizona, you have Kentucky. I think is still in the mix there.
Oh, Kentucky. Yep.
I don't think Wisconsin's out. Like if Wisconsin like reels off 7 straight wins to end the regular season, like they have some really good wins. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of competition for that 1 seed line.
All right, it's time for 3 cheers. Lead us off, AG.
I'm gonna go Juwan Howard, Michigan, man. I talked about it before. I think this is the start of a mini run that they need. You know, this was a huge win that they needed as well. So, huge performance tonight, and to the Wolverines, man. Cheers.
Salud to the Wolverines. So I'm gonna go with Duke as a whole. Specifically like the guys on the roster not named Wendell Moore, because I think the fact that there was not an all like a full-scale brawl after the hit that Wendell Moore took on that dunk attempt, like cheers to the Duke staff, cheers to the people that were able to hold them back. Like honestly, like if I saw that, Ashton, you
that was crazy,
this, man. If you saw that happen to your teammate,
man,
the Newark's coming out, right?
It would have gotten crazy. So, yeah, cheers to them. Cheers to Duke. Honestly,
cheers to them.
Just for holding.
And you know what? Cheers to
Wendell.
And cheers to Wendell Moore for not being injured. Because that, like, when I saw that coming down, that was one of those ones where you're like, oh, please don't have a broken back. Please don't have a broken spine. Please be able to walk. Please don't.
I thought his wrist, something was going to break. Something.
Oh, he got up and started walking after like 10 seconds. I was like, man, when I step on a Lego, I am down for longer than that.
Yes. You
guys don't have kids. You don't know what it's like to step on a Lego yet.
Kudos to Coach K giving David Collins a hug right after, though.
Mm-hmm. All right. 3 cheers for me. In New York sports, it was a dark football season, and basketball season has seen its ups and downs in 4 of the 5 boroughs. I'm heading to Staten Island. On Staten Island, there is a really special story happening on the Northeast Conference. Bashir Mason's Wagner Seahawks have won a nation's best 14 straight games. They win 69-57 tonight over Mount St. Mary's. Alex Morales goes for 21 points, and Wagner is 17-2 on the year. I do not care who, what league, what's going on. I know a couple things. Bashir Mason is a really good young African-American coach who's just getting his start. He has done a sensational job with that Wagner program. He's brought in really good talent at the Northeast Conference level. Congratulations to Wagner. If you went by that campus and you drove by it, your appreciation for what's going on there would just skyrocket. They're right on Staten Island. It's a school that doesn't get a ton of attention in New York because there's so many universities around that area. Good for the Seahawks. I'm rooting for you, Bashir Mason. Happy for Wagner. They play a New York City way. 3 cheers to the Wagner Seahawks.
Cheers.
Seahawks, baby.
That's it for us. So we're off tomorrow, and the crew is back Saturday night at 11 Eastern time, 10 Central. Fun night tonight. Blind resume game. Gibbs and Dauster even at 2 games apiece. We are going to a game 5 someday, folks. And thanks to producer Greg Waddell. He made that so much fun. For AG and Rob Dauster.
Fun?
Well,
fun?
It was a blast for me.
I am protesting the result of this.
When Goodman plays, I am going to cackle. I mean, I hope I'm the game show host for that game so I could just go against. There's no shot he's winning a round of that game.
No, he's going to lose every single one.
He's going to say for each one, what's the KPI? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. We're back Saturday night at 11 for Field of 68 After Dark. Enjoy.